And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. Joined again with your host, Sean Gervais from the OrbisX CRM and Marshall Hill from the Pints of Polishing podcast, as well as Hyper Clean Car Care Products. That's right. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good. I'm ready to do session 2 for today.
There we go. Session 2. I know. We
The,
pre-episode to an episode to an
the
episode.
joke is we just start talking and start drinking, and next thing we know, it's like, oh wait, we
And
gotta
then we're
hit.
like, oh shit, we should hit record. We've already had like 15 conversations before this. But that's good though. It's good, you know? But
Yeah,
yeah, man. So
good fun things coming out. You already
yeah,
talked about it, but updates on that. More to come. More to come.
yeah,
Keep everybody's eyes open. We'll update more on it. There's good progress.
absolutely. And me, this weekend, something happened to me. Two things that I gotta touch on real quick. One, watched a horrible movie. My opinion, horrible. Maybe some people will like it, but it's a new movie. Kevin Hart's in it, and it's called oh my God, Borderlands. That's what it's called. Borderlands. It's like a
Terrible.
science fiction
Worst
thing.
movie ever.
Yeah,
I joked about that
absolutely
one about
terrible.
a month ago on our podcast, and I think I did it on one of those buy or sell ones. I don't remember but I started the movie. I
Yeah,
paid $20 for it. Everybody else passed out on the couch, and I'm 10 minutes in going, this movie's gonna be terrible. 20 minutes.
yeah,
Going, God damn, it's terrible. And I'm like,
it really
I
is.
can't stop watching though. I
I
just go, maybe it's gonna get better. No,
I
it's
thought the same thing.
bad the entire way
Start to
through.
finish.
It's
Start to
terrible.
finish. Yeah, it really is. I thought the same thing because it had so much potential in a way. Because anytime it's completely fictional, you could go any direction with the storyline, with the jokes, with this, that, and it just start to finish, oof, so bad.
I think when you see movies that just have so much hard cuts through them, like, oh wait, there's this big worm. Okay, hold on, and he's just putting it in gear. Like, they're not showing the flow of it, right? It's like
Yeah,
they have these really hard cuts, almost like a 60-second, commercial that all of us do on Instagram, right? Where we shoot
yeah,
videos, and there's some people that put out these like really great, and they slow and they transition, and it's clean. Then there's
yeah.
some people that go in with these like every second it's a real hard cut to the next thing, and it's like boom, 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 and you're like, wait, I
It's
don't
true.
understand what happened. Like, was it
Yeah,
caught dirty? Is it clean? Like, I'm not
it's
sure how
so
he did it.
true.
It was so fast. Like,
Yeah, it's so true. You know, it's funny you say that because so at the dealership, we do a lot of our video filming for cars, obviously, right? But what we usually do too is if because we have a detail bay there, but it's just one bay. But sometimes what we do is if there's a particular car that we know is common through a lot of our demographic or it's going to be used in some upcoming ads, instead of cleaning it at Auto World, we send it down to Rev and we get it cleaned there. And then we have our video person because we have a full-time videographer down there. And so she just does the video, the photos, everything like that. And then we now have footage that we can use in our ads. Makes sense, right? This lady, though, she came to us and she was really good at doing photos. She wasn't very good at doing videos. She was good because she came from like the wedding world. And
it's
so she,
interesting, right?
it
Some
is
photographers, they can't transition.
100%. And
Oh,
so she was trying to do her best. She was getting stable shots, she had the right equipment, all kind of stuff. That was good. But the way she was filming, excuse me, first off, every shot was different. So if she had to do 10 cars that day, there was no process like, okay, I start at the front, then I do the side, then I do that. It was just everyone was kind of just free range. Oh, I'm gonna do this, freestyling it. And so we said, okay, we gotta sit you down, look at these videos, tell us what you see. You know, and she was like, I think I did a good job, this and that. And it's like, okay. Now take a look at these videos and tell us what you see. And we showed her some videos that we had selected from the internet, and she was like, oh, okay, I see the difference. So that was good. She understood, okay, there's got to be a flow. Try and do them all the same because that way people are expecting it, especially if they're shopping for cars, for example. They're going to be looking at this car, then maybe that car. There has to be some sort of consistency. That was part one. Part two, her shots were exactly that. There was no like smooth transition where like, because we told her if you're coming from, let's say, the side of the car towards the back, it's okay to have a transition there and then do a shot like zooming out from the back of the car or something, but they kind of flow together. But she would just be on the side of the car like this, and then it would be like hard stop, and now it's the back of the car. And I was like, it's too jarring. Like someone sees that and your eyes are just so anyway, it is an art form, and that movie brutal. So wasted so much time, so much time. Okay.
Mm.
But I also had to see it to completion. Now, at the end of it, though, this is where my whole weekend redeemed itself. So my buddy Will, he's got this other guy. They were working together doing roofing stuff back and forth. That guy fell in some hard times, needs to pay his rent. And he's like, yeah, I'm looking to offload my truck. So he tells me about it. I'm like, well, what's he got? And he said he's got a Land Rover LR3. It's 2007, so it's an older truck, but still solid vehicle. It says, show me pictures, video, something, mint condition. This thing is like amazing. Aside from needing a detail, but like we can get that done easy enough in my shop. So I said, okay, let me see it. What's he asking for it? It's like $1,000. Like, you're joking. You're joking. He's like, he just needs to get his rent paid. So I'm like, safe. So I'm like, Will, you got to pick this truck up. Like if you don't take it, I'm taking it. Done. You know? So he's like thinking about it because he's more like a Toyota guy. He's like, I like the reliability of it, this and that. And I'm like, listen, I'm a Land Rover guy through and through. Like, trust me, pick it up. You're gonna
Something
love it.
that old that runs for only $1,000.
You know what I'm saying? So gets better. He ends up picking this thing up for $650. Because
Come on, that dude
because
needs rent money. What the fuck?
I know. But because so he had found some of the rent money and he's like, all I need is this. And so anyway, $650, he picks it up. So I get involved now. I have to go help, like drive him out there, this and that. But on the way there, we show up. The guy's house is about 25 minutes from my place. We show up, guy's not there. I'm like, the hell, like, where are you? He's like, oh, I went to Home Depot. It's like, oh my God. So like we're like, okay, fine. We'll come get you because he doesn't have a car. So we're like, we'll come get you. He's not driving. So all right, I'll come get you. But I'm like, wait, he's at Home Depot. Ask him how much stuff he has. Cause I'm like, I don't want to like put a bunch of like drywall in my Rover or something like no. Ask him.
$650 worth is what he's got.
Exactly. So we find out he's like, no, I don't have a lot of stuff. All right, cool. We'll come get you. Show up there. He doesn't have a lot of stuff. It's just him and his bag and two buddies. So I'm like, Jesus, man. Like now I'm like Ubering people around and everything. So this is where the price got knocked down. Because initially it was supposed to be 700, and Will said, no, 650 because I'm giving 50 to Shawn for gas for going to pick you guys up, bring you back here, everything like that. So anyway, that's how that worked out. But picks up this truck. The thing, air suspension, first thing we tested, works perfectly. I'm like, man, this is crazy. 650. Anyway, we take the truck back, get it back to my place, and it's looking filthy. And I'm thinking about it as we went. And I'm like, okay, how does this buying experience usually go? And this is where maybe I'll be giving a tip out early today. But I thought about it and I was like, holy shit, why aren't we doing this already? Where we put together a welcome to your new ride package that we can reach out to sellers online. So now we're going to start reaching out to people on like Facebook Marketplace, people that are posting in, like forums, wherever, classified ads. We're going to say, hey, free gift for you. Add it to your ad that when someone buys your car, they're going to get a welcome to your new ride package from Auto World. They can come in, they get a mini detail, and it'll include like just quick cleaning, this and that and stuff, and a used vehicle health checkup. And what it's going to be is we top up the fluids, we this, that, whatever. We can include a few things. We'll check the windshield for cracks and we'll fix the cracks. Man, that the chip fix costs us like $1. You know what I mean? So we'll do like minor things like that, and we'll just gift it to them for free. And then we say, and when you sell it, you're going to be buying a new car most likely. So we'll also give you the same package for your new car, right? I was like, man, this makes so much sense. So anyway, we're putting together it's going to be an actual little like coupon booklet, but we're going to do it digitally. Where you have those things, they're called flip books online, and it's like, looks like a magazine. You can actually flip the pages and it makes noise and stuff. It's going to be like that with like coupon things. And each page is going to have a clickable link that takes them somewhere, and then it fills out all the info for them, and they just put in, purchase the car this date, whatever. And then, man, you get two customers at the same time. You know what I mean? So anyway, that is a tip of all tips. I'm telling you, is that just put together a welcome to your new ride kit and push it out there. Once I finish ours for Auto World, I'll share it in the group, and then feel free to reuse it as much as you want. But that's I kind of
That's
just
really cool, man. Nicely
thanks, man.
done.
I kind of just dove in.
I love that. Great job.
Yeah, nice,
Great
man.
job.
Cheers. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for it because the first thing, like, he gets this used car. Yeah, he got a great deal on it, but it's also filthy. That's why he got a great deal on it. And well, the other reasons too. But the first thing they're going to want to do is like clean it. Now he's got to go like find a detailer, this and that. Imagine if it's just like, yeah, welcome to your new ride. And you're like, oh shit, look at that.
And
Like,
once they're there, I think most detailers can be like, well, I could never give away. Don't expect you to,
yeah,
And also understand that it's not like suddenly you're going to get 10 calls and they got their appointment's going to be today.
Yeah.
And right
It's going to be hit or miss.
there's a lot. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And you will schedule them on
Hmm.
when you need them scheduled.
100%.
Let's
100%.
definitely remind people about that. This is
Yeah.
extra marketing. This is extra ideas. So don't start shooting it down. Start
Yeah.
trying to figure out
How to do it. Yeah. Like for us,
how you could borrow the idea
Mondays and
and
Wednesdays,
capitalize on it.
those are
Yep.
going to be the days we book it in. For example,
There you go.
never a Friday, never a Saturday. Like,
A
no.
rainy day.
Yep. Rainy
And they're like,
day.
it's raining. You go, sure is.
Sure is, yeah. But your interior is going to be sparkling. You know what I mean? So it's, yeah, you find ways to do it. And the whole goal too, through this process is to gain a customer, right? And even if the guy doesn't, let's say 100 people look at that ad and one person buys it, 100 other or 99 other people just saw like, oh geez, Auto World detailing, they see these kinds of things.
And the trick needs to also be some sort of online verification that you're seeing them. Is it logo? Is it in
So
the, what is it that, because that really is the kind of the key, right? Because if
yeah,
we're a detailer and we want to go sponsor people selling cars on Facebook, I need some visual or a link,
some sort of confirmation, yeah,
not a
link.
link.
Yeah, it could easily be
That's,
done with a link. And a good way to do it too, that is what we're going to do is referral codes. So just have a referral code that's different for each person we reach out to. We send it to them. But the other way too is just say, I need screenshot of the ad and the seller and this and that and stuff. And then because the seller is also going to get their welcome to your new ride kit, we're going to reach out to the seller and be like, hey, by the way, you sold your vehicle, whatever it is. And if he's like, no, I didn't, and we're like, oh, interesting. You know what I mean? We'll still probably take the other guy for the mini detail. Who cares? 'Cause, like, I'm just going to upsell him when he's there anyways. But still, it's
and that's the extra part, right? Like then
yeah.
they're in. The whole point is you got to be good at selling them something.
Yeah, 100%. And it should
So
be easy enough because if he's not spending anything on that mini detail that he's getting them for something else. Like for example, we're not going to include like salt removal. So if the guy comes in, it's like, yeah, we do a mini detail, we wipe down the dash, we clean the windows, mirrors, this, that. And then, oh, but we noticed, your carpets, they could need a little bit of love, And if you want, we could do that for you, $20 a mat, something like that. And then there's just ways you can add that in. But yeah, you got to be good at the selling part. But I'm assuming if you're in business for any length of time, hopefully you've got some sort of a grasp of
yeah, but we talked about that. That's probably most people's weakness, right? We're
that
good
is
at
true.
cleaning
Yeah,
it, but we're not really good at understanding how to sell it. That's why
that's
they
true.
listen to your bouquet.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I just keep throwing out the flowers. That's it. Absolutely, yeah. And so yeah, man,
So it's a big week, yeah?
it
SEMA.
is it is a big week. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wonder how many of your users and people are at SEMA.
It actually seems
SEMA
to be
2024.
yeah, it seems to be quite a large number to be honest. And that's what I was curious about. So I have a rep down there now, Ambassador Matt, he's down there, and he was going to SEMA and I was like, hey, let's work something out where you can also be doing some stuff for OrbisX while you're down there and everything. And it's been amazing, but I was curious. I said, "What's the attendance like?" Because ever since COVID, things changed quite a bit, and so I was curious. Are things getting more and more back to normal? I guess. Like pre-COVID numbers, more than what's happening. Man, he was telling me he's like attendance is huge. He posted in the
Has he
group.
been before?
Yeah, he's been before. Yeah,
Who
I
did he
don't know if
go?
he went during COVID though. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to ask him, but
Because that's what I was like 16,
I
17, 18, 19 numbers
okay.
or
Yeah,
2022 numbers.
gotcha. My
There is
guess
a difference. There's
yeah,
a
my
big
guess
difference.
is it's more than 2022 numbers. How much more? I don't know, but I don't know if it's peaking at like 2017, 2018, 2019 numbers.
Yeah, those were the big times. They
Yeah,
were
I have a
really big times.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
my guess is it's getting back there, but I don't think it's quite there yet. But I don't know. I mean, I was talking with Becca at SEMA and just one of the ad reps there, and we're going over numbers and stuff. And I mean, that's their job, right? To present good numbers. And so they were suggesting that numbers are pretty much back to normal years. But of course, that's their job, right? So Yeah, Becca, not saying you're lying to me. I'm just saying.
We're just understanding traps, and when
Yeah,
we get
yeah,
them, and we also understand our great and
yeah,
wonderful leader of this whole trap thing, and we can
yeah.
go back to go. It's not a trap; it's a face-off.
Yes,
You
it's
know it's coming. It's just a
just a
face-off.
face off. Exactly.
And let's go back to Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy and give him the fair honor of the quote.
Exactly. See, there's a movie I can sit through again. So,
Let me do it.
yeah,
I'm in.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so SEMA, yeah, big I saw some of the like events, the attendance list, things like that, and it seems like it's gonna be a good one though. But it just for me always falls at a time like
Listen, the people online will all say it's great.
mm, that is
And
true. That is very true. Yeah.
I just said,
That's
like, you gave a tip here. I'll give my pre-tip. I don't do pre-tips, but you want a pre-tip? Anybody? Anybody want a pre-tip? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
free tip, free tip.
Pre-tip is going to be, hey, everybody that's there is going to say it's amazing.
Yeah.
I also said it was amazing while I was there.
Yeah, yeah.
You went someplace and spent a lot of money. Would you tell people it wasn't a great idea? Or would
Yeah.
you tell everybody how great of an idea it was?
I'd be like, oh, this was a great
It was
idea.
a great idea.
The best, especially when you're caught in the like the euphoria of it, and yeah,
I remember the first time, we can all remember the first time, can we?
yeah, never forget.
Getting off of the tram because we stayed at the MGM.
Nice,
And so then we did the
real nice.
tram and then like went, oh, like
Jeez, it's something.
this is all like, oh, way over there. Wait, what? Whoa. Like,
Yeah,
okay. Like,
yeah,
and then I just sat for like eyes open for like an hour, just like, oh my word, look at all these people, look at these cars. Like, it's
yeah,
wild. Like, and
yeah,
the first time is extremely eye-opening. It is extremely like, wow, right? Like,
yeah. Of course,
I'm
man.
not Kansas anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially Las Vegas in particular, like because everything already is
Yeah,
just
it's already big bright
yeah, yeah.
lights. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's like I said, that euphoria of it, you're like transcended in a different world. And so it's yeah, but SEMA definitely is a massive, like it's not a small thing, you know what I mean? And that's where I was
But
curious.
it has shrunk.
Yes,
It
that's
has shrunk.
I
They started kind of
mhm.
piling it in a little bit more, right? Like,
A little more compact. Yeah, yeah. But
and a
but
big one was when Ford bailed out. I mean, some of
right,
the big
right.
stuff that they used to do it was crazy.
Jeez,
The
yeah.
amount of things that people did there. That was, there's so much going on. There's so many people. There's massive brands. Ford,
Yeah. Yeah.
massive brand. You
Yeah.
know, the people then, so, they would really have a lot of that outside stuff. And then, you'd have all the old school brands that serviced all the old school people, right?
Um,
Valvoline was right there.
yeah,
Turtle
yeah.
Magic, right? Like, is
Jeez.
that right? Turtle Magic? I think so. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Right? That green turtle something. I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
all that really old school stuff would be right there. And those early years when I started going, I was still tied with Carbrite, who at that time was owned by Valvoline. A big part of the way I got my start into dealerships was going around with a guy named John Wall. He was a Valvoline rep for our area.
okay.
So I was right into the Valvoline booth. Those
Yeah,
were my
yeah.
guys, right? So that was a lot
That's
of
wild.
fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right there and all the big stuff going on. And the dinners with Valvoline guys were a lot better than the dinners with,
Yeah.
others, let's just call
Others.
them,
Yeah.
right? Valvoline dinners were great.
Yeah, yeah. 100%. There's a difference. There's levels to this, right?
Uh,
So
uh, it is, I mean, it seems crazy, but you got so much going on. The analogy that I have, and as you and I are both, animal fans,
big time.
nature fans, all that, also aquatic, big
Mhm.
aquatic fans. And maybe I wonder if you've actually seen this happen from your times. I don't know what the seas were like down where you were
Oh
at,
yeah, yeah.
but you watch some videos and I think it's really cool when they show these big giant swarm of fish. And
Hmm.
I mean, they are this massive one, and they've gotten schooled in, and they're doing what they got to do to. They're in the frenzy of the moment. But then you
Yeah,
look around, you can maybe have a sea otter, you got a bird, you got a shark that's not eating the otter, it's eating the fish.
fish.
You got,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you
They're just
got a
getting
big
picked
whale that
off.
comes up, right? Like you see some of these videos, and you're like, yeah, there's and we go back to that,
Yeah,
who's feeding off of who. There
yeah,
definitely has
man.
to be an ecosystem to everything. And I got there and I go, this ecosystem for this moment is let's get as many pieces as we can here and let's get as much happening in these 3 or 4 days, 5 days. And,
Yeah,
and there is a lot of electricity. There's a lot of stuff, like, it's a
yeah,
lot of fun. You
yeah,
got
yeah,
a lot of feeding frenzy. You got a lot of people there grabbing stuff. Like, I mean, it's both ways, and it's
yeah.
a lot of fun.
But it's like, where do you fit into that ecosystem? You know? Yeah, yeah. Like, are you?
At first, I was one of the fish.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just get try not to get eaten, not to get picked at, but also things will catch your eye. And you're like, "Ooh, what's that?"
There you go. You don't think of it as getting eaten at. You're just seeing all the fancy stuff, and you're just seeing
Yeah,
everything. And it's like, I mean, you could find anything that you wanted on a vehicle,
yeah,
right? There were shift knobs, there was button knobs, there was bumper this, there was
yeah.
anything you wanted to build out your vehicle,
Man,
those people were
like a
gonna
kid in
build.
a candy store, you know? It's like they got gumdrops, lollipops, and this, that. Yeah, it's like,
It's just
yeah.
that's it's wild. It's
Mm,
wild.
yeah. That's the thing. I think even people that like obviously there's the different levels of people that are, car fanatics, all the way to even just like the little hobbyist and stuff. And then there's people that are just interested or tied to some sort of company or something, so they're there. But it's amazing how you can get drawn in by just the innovation of things. That you got the
Mhm.
shiny bright lights, you got these, it's just it's a
So one of my
lot,
favorite
right?
tents became the tent out, and this is where I get mixed up on north, south, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But came down that escalator. What used to be there, and there was like the big trucks were over on the far right. I don't know if that's north south, so apologies. I think so. I think detail used to be in the north hall, so this must be south. And they would put all there was this big. First, it started with just like some little tents, then it became these giant tents,
Jeez.
and these giant tents were all the new startups that were
Okay.
hoping to get in to
Uh,
the main hall. And then
yeah.
not just in the main hall, there was times where the little hallways, not
Yeah.
just the convention halls, but every little hallway had vendors just hawking shit.
Jeez. Just
I mean,
everywhere. Just like
in its prime was packed. But I
yeah.
loved going out to those other tents and just meeting all these people that were, whether they're from overseas or they were in country, that were just hoping to get started doing something. And I'm here at SEMA to right? I mean, they're hungry and they're like, let's go. I've
Yeah.
got this random idea of this invention, and here I
Let's
am.
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're trying to grab that school of fish, you know? Yeah, yeah. It's and that's where for me, so I was contemplating do the booth thing and I was gonna go, split on a booth with someone else and stuff like that. And we were debating on making something happen. And I sat back and I thought about it and I was like, I was having that exact same thought. I didn't have that analogy on hand because we hadn't spoken yet, but that analogy is exactly where my frame of mind was. Is that okay? How do I get a piece of the action? How do I make it also something that's valuable, not just in the moment for, like just signing up a couple people here or there, or something like that. It's more, how can I make some valuable content as well that's going to serve, our existing members as well as the community as a whole, so on and so forth. All these things are going through my head. So I'm like, I want to obviously grab some of that school of fish, but at the same time, I want to also, longer term have some valuable content for OrbisX and things like that. Um, so I gave it some thought and I was like, okay, booth, expensive, but I mean, it's doable for sure, but I'm also then tied to one area and then not really doing anything other than just being someone else hawking shit, right? And so I was like, okay. So
Waiting for the school of fish to swim by so
and then
that
just trying to grab a couple. Exactly, you know? And that's where I was looking at that. I'm like, okay, that can kind of make sense. And I don't know what kind of fish that would be. I know there's fish that kind of just hang out at the bottom
oh,
by a coral reef and
yeah,
they just,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's
yeah.
fair.
Well, there are certain they call it like certain type of fish. They just sit there and wait.
And then something comes over and they, oh, yeah,
And those
exactly.
are there's some of those crazy ones that bury themselves down in the sand.
Yeah, that's nuts. And then they just pop up and it's like, and the speed on those things, I've seen some of those videos and it's like, and it is, there's a fish just swimming and then he's just gone. It's like,
I think some octopus do that too, right?
oh yeah, octopus
Just
big time.
blend in and then suddenly I saw one where it
Yeah.
grabbed a shark and the
Oh,
shark was swimming by and these tentacles just go whoosh,
and he's
and
like,
the
come here.
shark couldn't move and it just got pulled in.
Just pull them out. Yeah, yeah. It's like, that's wild, huh? Nature's nuts. Like imagine you just going for a walk. In this case, going for a swim. You just something just grabs you like that. That's nuts. But yeah, so I was like, how do I get in on that action? And how do I grab some fish, but at the same time making some good content, so on and so forth. And so that's where, discussions with one of our members, Matt, came up. And I said, it would be cool if like while you're at SEMA, you were there representing OrbisX, but also talking to people. And okay, talking to people, sure, but with a purpose in mind, with a goal. And so he's down there and he's asking people about how AI fits in with their business, if they've ever used AI for their business, if they've thought about it, if they've heard about it, if they are using it, how are they using it now? And if they haven't been, how would they use it? And if they're not using it, then he explains like what AI can do for their business. And then of course that ties back with OrbisX and how it can help the business as well. But it's more interviews with them about their gripes in business and what things they're struggling with and how potentially AI can already solve that problem or help facilitate, or how maybe in the future AI will be able to solve those things. And that could be anything from obvious things like automations and stuff, but that can also be things like they're going to have full-on robots at some point assisting. It'll be your detail assistant and it'll be helping you with some stuff. Like maybe it could even at some point do a polish. Who knows? It could do some paint correction. I don't know. It could do all kinds of, I mean, I think we're a little ways away from that before you can trust them to do it. But at the same time, that also goes for humans, right? So, but I think that there's some things that we talked about on the past episode where, like the robo taxis and stuff, there's going to be a lot of ways that AI is going to fit into some level with our businesses as we go forward. And it's going to be, yeah, we have brick and mortar and digital components to our business, but we're also going to have that AI robotic component as well. It's just going to happen. And so it's kind of an interesting subject to talk about, keeps people interested, gets them,
It is.
hearing things
Wait, the most ironic part is
and
wow, I had coffee with my mom this morning and she was talking about watching videos of people that interview people
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on YouTube, right? I go,
Super
Mom, you're right.
effective.
It's a super popular thing. And then you told me about it earlier, and I go, listen, got to give you the props,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
all
Yeah.
wonder, how do I capture a moment? How do I do something?
Yeah.
Right? You borrow this idea,
Hmm.
just go interview people.
Absolutely. Just go talk to them. Yeah.
Well,
It's like,
just go talk to them and interview and ask them some questions. Like,
yeah.
it's so simple, but it's genius, and it's also very practical for what people today watch.
Yeah.
They would totally
100%.
be into it, right? Like that's how
Yeah.
Hot Tour Girl happened.
Exactly. See? Exactly. And
Like
now she's like traveling the world. She's just, like,
he is Hot Tour. Like
yeah.
some dude doesn't go out interviewing people on the street.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
and
That's
right, like
exactly how
great
it happens.
idea. Like
Thank you, thank you. And
good
that's what
job,
I
man.
realized. And I was like, okay, so this will be a good investment of time, money, energy, all of that. And at the same time, if let's say I went the booth route and I'm just sitting there and it's just pure sales pitch, that's what it becomes, right? It's just pure sales pitch. This instead becomes reusable content that now gets uploaded and then people are going to watch. The views are just going to continue on that. It's just a digital asset that forever can drive traffic. So it seemed like a much better use of time and money spent. And at the same time, too, from what we've seen, the booths, you kind of got to either go the extra mile or not at all. You know what I mean? Because if you half-ass it, it's almost better to not have one, you know?
A guy that put a car on like a one of these things,
Mm,
and I
yeah.
went, I mean, it's a cool car,
Yeah.
but
But
you went to
like,
SEMA and you put up one of those in a car. That's the only thing you did.
yeah. It's like,
Okay.
all right. Yeah. If that works for you, you know?
You
Just
have an investor. You do have somebody that funds your money. Got it.
mhm.
Now I understand.
Now it
You
all
weren't
makes
the founder. You aren't the guy that funds it. You are the guy that got money from somebody, so you don't understand. Totally
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Totally understand. Yeah.
totally get it.
It's exactly it, you know, and that's where the difference, like look at the creativity I had to put behind the OrbisX strategy instead, because I'm the one that's built this thing. You know what
Yep.
I mean? And it's so me grinding it out, it's been pure creativity. Like I've never done advertising or anything like that and built it up to this level to the point that competitors are like pissed off and hate on OrbisX daily. And it's just because it's garnished a following because A, it's a great product, but
I
B,
think one of your competitors actually is pretty close to the booth I'm talking about, and they just went to Walmart, got a table, and put a drapery over it, and we're like,
it's
"Hey,
like,
let's
there we go.
go!" And you
Yeah,
go,
just
"The hell are you guys doing? Like,
yeah, like
what is going on here?"
it's mind-boggling, you know? And like several years in a row too.
I
Like,
thought you were from something. You did something, and this is your way of.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
the effort. That's the effort that goes into it. And so you look at those two different strategies to try and reach the school of fish, you know, and some strategies are just better than others.
I
That's
think you can appreciate the reason why I bring it up like that isn't to throw jabs at somebody. So somebody goes and sends it to people, and I get some message. It's not about that. It's
yeah.
about actually commending your idea. It's about commending the idea of if you are this quote unquote entrepreneur, right? If you're a startup, if you're 2021, 2022 and beyond,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm not going to count anyway, I'm not going to go into that. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're relatively new and
yeah,
you're a quote unquote startup, then you have to always be thinking, how do I capitalize on today? How do I see a moment? How do I go somewhere? And how do I go? For me, it was if there's a apartment building, if there's
yeah,
a, but it didn't go so well at apartments. People didn't, it was hard to get business at apartments. So I went to business complexes because I go, okay, business offices have people that have money. There's more people here than me just going door to door.
yeah. And oftentimes
How
more
do I go
accessible too.
capitalize on this moment? And that's, it
Yeah,
comes down to that same thing, right? Like as a business owner, and you have this moment where there's thousands of fish swimming around, and there's whatever you want to call sharks to birds that are dropping down to, right? Just take the analogy.
yeah,
There's whales like Ford. Well, Ford's gone, but you get my point, right?
yeah,
There's a lot of stuff going on at SEMA. And instead of being a, let me throw a booth together and just have people come see me, you went, no, I'm not going to go with what everybody else does. Let me
yeah,
figure out what is best for the company that is you and then your
yeah,
team members, because it's also then the customers and the users. If
yeah,
you spent $300,000, $200,000, you're going to have to get that out back some way
yeah, 100%.
versus let me go capitalize on a moment. Let me keep expenses in check. Let me do something very key to the moment. Let me use technology. Let me, and you
Yeah,
keep going down that way.
absolutely.
We all have to just go, Shawn, well done, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Cheers. Yeah,
Very
man.
well done. Yeah.
And that's where like all my businesses, I've always been like that. And that's where I just know that I just truly am an entrepreneur in my heart because like it's the creative thinking, always thinking, always plotting, always thinking of another idea and stuff. It's our big advantage, I'd say, is that if you're a shark, for example, in the real world, you're a shark, your only option to get that school of fish is whatever a shark does. But our big advantage as entrepreneurs is that maybe I try what the shark's doing. And if that's not working, maybe I become the bird. And if the bird's not working, I become the seal. So we have that ability to pivot and try different approaches. And I would say that's the superpower of an entrepreneur, is being able to, say, okay, what do I need in this instance to get the job done? And not always just approaching it the same way that everybody else does it. So if everybody else is taking the approach of I don't know maybe it's an angler fish or whatever sits at the bottom and just waits for, everyone else is doing that. So how do you still get at the school? Do you just add one more of those type of fish? Maybe you're like, I'm a bird, and now you're coming in from the other side, so you actually have the whole top exposed. You have more opportunities that way. And I've always felt like, even when we started Auto World, we started it with next to no money aside from a minimal investment in some chemicals. Even though we already had many successful businesses, we could have funded it to the roof. We could have redone the floors, done the lights, done everything day one. But what we realized is, no, 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 no. Throwing money at this day one isn't going to tell us whether or not this business has legs to stand on its own. And it's not going to make us be creative, because when you just have a pool of money sitting there, you just access the money and you're like, oh, just run more Facebook ads or run more Google ads. It's always just more, more, more instead of better, better, better. And so we took a different approach and we said, no, start lean. And every decision we make has to be very, very well calculated so that it can fuel itself. And so that's what we did. And that's what I attribute the success of Auto World to, is the fact that we bootstrapped it. Even though we didn't have to, that was our way of making it successful. Versus if we just threw a bunch of money at it, we would never have known. We'd just been like, oh yeah, let's just throw 50 grand in ads. Oh man, we got like 200 customers that came in. That's amazing. Maybe we could have got those 200 customers a better avenue without the 50 grand, because the 50 grand route means that next month we got to throw another 50 grand. Versus if we found a way to get those same 200 customers without the 50 grand, well, let's just do more of that. And then you slowly just inject a little bit of money and then you scale back and you pull away from it. So yeah, I think, thanks, man. Yeah, I gave some good thought to it. I had to do it quickly because, there was a fixed deadline. I had to figure out what I was going to do one way or the other. So I was like, if I'm doing a booth, okay, then I got to like print a bunch of shit. I got to this and that set up and all kind of stuff. I looked at it and I said, no, there's got to be a better way. Found a better way.
It does. And I think there's some analogy here, because we heavily support detailers going to car shows.
Yeah.
We're big fans of car shows because that's another place that you find a microcosm of people that love cars.
Yeah.
Let's all pause for a moment. The best customer is somebody that loves their car.
100%. 100%.
It just is what it is. Now, a lot of people are going to debate that you can find those people at a car show. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not. But there's cars and coffee that I might be able to at least give hey, like you got to consider some of that. Okay, so any of us that are going to go to some of these or be a part of any of this, we understand that there's people there that love cars that would maybe want to buy something to help their car.
Mm.
People that love their cars do buy things for the cars. Let's go ahead and say 1 + 1 does equal 2. It's okay. It's okay. What you got to figure out is, how do I go into that moment and do something for your business?
Mm. Yeah.
Right? It might be distribution. I just got to go ahead and throw that out from the top. Like, a great way to get into car shows and get into talking to people is distributing a product.
Yeah.
It really is.
100%.
The people that love their cars spray a bunch of stuff all over the cars.
Yep.
It's up to you then to educate them on that stuff down at the parts store is different than HyperClean and why they should use HyperClean, right? Like, that becomes the part. The other part becomes, how do you get that person into your booth?
Mm. Yeah.
And there's the mindset of what we talked about earlier, the sit and wait, and I'm going to capture the person as they walk by.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're not really great at that, I think there's a salesman that used to be in training, and he used to talk about that, you know, people that are salesmen that are timid have
Mm.
skinny kids. So if you're somebody that's gone to shows, gone to expos, or done something, you're like, I've tried. You go, I wasn't good.
Yeah, yeah.
A little timid.
Hmm.
Now, there's some people that would go, then I got to go out and be that bullhorn and be yelling at people.
Yeah.
I don't know that that really brings people in. We could
That
see
can
some
also
people
push
even
them
on social
away.
that way, and maybe they create a little bit of hype for a moment. But
Yeah,
most of those people, once other people figure out who they really are, and they're just talking heads and they're just blabbing their mouths around, most of the quality people and most actual money doesn't really flow that way.
it's true.
You got to go into a moment, whether it's SEMA, whether it's an expo, whether it's a car show. We all have to go into go, how can I capitalize on this?
100%. And
That's the
that,
only way you can go into it. And if you think setting up a tent and just having a cool car and people walking by, no. I
yeah,
learned that the hard way too, setting up tents and seeing people walk by. I
yeah.
learned it first though, when I first went to SEMA.
Ah,
I was the person that just kept walking by and just kept walking by.
yeah.
It's interesting how sometimes I stopped.
Hmm.
Why did I stop?
You gotta think what the hook was.
Because
Yeah,
gotta be,
yeah,
we're not a shark, we're not a bird.
yeah. You're a
How many
fisherman.
people have
Yeah,
fished and been in a boat and went, man, the smallmouth bass are swarming. Well,
yeah.
that's because they're spawning. I just need to throw a hook in the water.
And pull.
That's
Yeah,
cool. The best time for me fishing wasn't,
yeah,
there's some great fishing boats and people love it. And like, I hate fishing. I love going to find where all the fish are and just throwing a hook out.
yeah,
That's,
yeah. And that's where the action is. Yeah, I don't want to.
that's the action.
Yeah, just sitting there. Like, yeah,
I'm
no.
sitting there stupid.
Yeah, yeah. That's true though. But that's where, yeah, having a good hook, you gotta have something to pull them
That's
in.
something. What is
Yeah,
your hook? What
yeah.
is going to drive that person to walk from his car or stop walking? What's going to make them stop? Are you going to
Mhm.
be in a booth or
Yeah,
could you capitalize on it?
yeah,
Very little expense.
yeah. Absolutely. In
Create a
comparison
YouTube
to it.
channel for
Yeah,
your detailing business and
yeah.
just interview people at car shows about
XYZ. Absolutely. Yeah. And then
how many people would keep wanting you to come back. If you put out good content, you become a moment in your city where more people in your area keep looking at you for some reason.
yeah,
Next
it's
thing you
true.
know, oh, you detail cars? Oh, I
Yeah,
noticed you had some product over there too. So why do you like that product? Oh, I could use it. I could just come by your place and grab some product from you.
yeah,
Huh?
exactly. Yep.
Then they
It's
get there and you go, well, yeah, we can correct that mistake that you got there. And I know you think your car looks great, but let me show you how I can make it look better. And let me put this coating on there. And then once you're at the car shows, you just need Eco One and you just need some slick. And
yeah, it just snowballs from there. It really is about that hook though. And I learned a long time ago when I was young. My mother's a visual artist, so she does paintings. And but she's done like 5,000 plus paintings. More than that now, but man, she's done them for all different industries. She's got paintings in law offices. She's got some in our parliament buildings here, which is like our White House. She's celebrities have bought some of her stuff, like Don Cherry and a bunch of other people. Curtis Joseph used to be a goalie. Anyway, she's one of the most exceptional marketers I've ever seen. My mother will talk to anybody. Man, when I was a kid, it used to frustrate me because we'd go anywhere, we'd go fill up the car with gas, and we're stuck there for 30 minutes because my mom's talking to five people that are in the parking lot that they're filling up their car. She's handing out bookmarks to everybody and all this kind of stuff. She just promotes the shit out of herself,
right. I
right?
remember, yeah, your mom talking
Yeah,
about, yeah.
yeah, like big time. But we used to do shows as well. So she used to go to these shows. There was one that was called like the one of a kind show. So it was only things that were like original products and stuff. So it was in the art world, the equivalent of the car shows and stuff like that, right? But now you've got all these products that are there. These, people are selling cups and homemade hats and just you name it. It's all kinds of different art forms, sculptures, you name it, all kinds of stuff. So with all these cool things drawing people in, she had to find ways of bringing people to her booth. And so I was the one that was stuck manning the booth, and I had to do the change and get their order ready and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, oh, this is going to be brutal. I'm going to be just like standing around waiting for people to come and stuff like that. No, that didn't happen. I was on my feet. I'm prepping this order, this, that, all these kinds of things because she was so busy. And I remember looking around and seeing all these other ones not busy. And I was like, how the hell is she doing this? Like, she hasn't even been in the booth. Like, I'm in the booth. What's she doing? So I asked my mom, I was maybe like 9 years old. It's like, Mom, like, where are all these people coming from? All the other booths are dead. They've got maybe two, three people that just kind of linger. They pass by and then they just walk off, stuff like that. And she says, oh, come with me. So my sister took over. She was manning the booth. I went with my mom. We're walking around. She had a little sketch pad and she was going around and she would see somebody and she would just like sketch them really quick on the thing, make a little caricature, a little cartoon thing. And she would walk over to them and they're in a group and she would pass it to them. They're all looking at it, they're laughing. They're like, oh, yeah, your glasses do look like that or something, just some nonsense, you know? She'd give them a bookmark and then she'd say, we're in the booth down there, da da da, come check it out. So they'd come down, they'd bring all the people they were with, everything. They start looking at stuff and she just had this unique way of just pulling people in, you know? And she found something that worked for her to just hook them in. And so in that moment, she didn't just sit there waiting for the fish to pass by. She actively went out. And in that moment, actually, she was both because she did have the booth. So she was that type of fish, but then she was also the bird just pecking them from above. Like, and man, it was amazing to see it in action. And that's where, like, I got a lot of ideas from, or maybe not ideas per se. Well, no ideas too, but I got a lot of I don't know, I guess the idea ingrained in me that you have to think outside the box and you have to always be looking for that edge where you can, like that hook, you got to look for the hook and you have to use a different hook depending on what type of fish you're trying to catch and where you're at and so on and so forth. Man, I'm telling you, there was a lot of lessons there, and that's where it's just kind of ingrained in me. But for anyone that's timid or unsure, because at one time I was scared to, like, I worked a call center job one summer, and I was terrified to be on the phone, you know, and we were selling circus tickets, and like of all things, you know, it was the Shriner Circus that were coming to town selling circus tickets. I hated it. And I looked around and some people, man, they had their feet up on the desk and they're like, da, 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 ringing the bell, just sold another 20 tickets. I'm like, what the, like, I'm not selling anything. And I'm on the phone stuttering and stuff. I was young, man. I don't even think I was legally like able to work, but I think I was 13, something like that. But anyway, I was doing it. I was timid. And then I was talking with this one guy and he said, man, what are you scared of? He said, watch. And he made a call. And as he's talking to the person, he was just being very like blasé. They would be like, he'd say, "Oh, you know, what's the weather like? How are you liking the weather?" And they're like, "Oh, you know, it's kind of nice." He's like, "Anyways, I don't care. I didn't call you about the weather." And he was just being like kind of rude to them. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, "What the hell?" And he's like, the guy ended up getting upset on the phone, kind of yells at him a bit, and then he just hangs up and he looks at me. He's like, "That didn't hurt me at all." He's like, he was upset, didn't hurt me at all. He was like, "So what are you scared of? They're not gonna jump through the phone." I was like, "Holy shit!" And I started to realize, I was like, "Yeah, like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna tell me like, no, I don't want the tickets." Like, so what? So I started to develop like, you know, a couple calls later, stuff like that, kind of a thicker skin, got more comfortable with it. It is something you can learn because I get compliments all the time, like, geez, Shawn, you're a programmer, but you don't strike me as that because you're very personable, you're very like you're good at sales, you're this, that. But those are skills I developed. They're not something I wasn't born like this, you know. It was through my upbringing, but then also educating myself. Those are the kind of trainings I focus on more than anything else, I'd say.
I think most people are afraid to understand what they're not good at.
Ah, oh
We
man,
we've detailed cars, we've
yeah,
made some money. Hell, I mean, there's some people that might make $100,000.
yeah,
They, some of us might make 70,000. Some of us might make 50. Some of us might make 200,000. Some of us, the business itself might clear 1 million. Well, I don't know. I mean, it really doesn't matter the number. Just to that person, if
mm,
they're successful in their own mind, it's a
mm,
big number. They've done it.
it's true. Yeah, and it comes with hard
Money.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
that training. You,
No, I guess to my point, what you're saying, like it just, they don't need any more advice. They don't need.
ah, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
They've achieved such a big number to them.
That they're like, this is it. I'm good. Whatever I'm doing is working and I'm good right here. Yeah. I see what you mean. For me, there is no number that I'm necessarily trying to achieve, but there's also no number that is my like ceiling in a way. Like it's just more. It's just more. Like I I don't know, like I don't have a, oh, when I make this, then I'm gonna be good and I won't feel like I need to get more skills and refine my sales process more. For me, it's more. To be honest, it's not even like a financial thing that's motivating me anymore. And so maybe I did hit a number where I'm just comfortable, but for me, it's more. I just enjoy the hunt. I enjoy the process of it. I enjoy providing solutions that change people's lives, make them happy, whatever it is I'm selling. I just I crave that, so it doesn't matter. And that's where like even just before we jumped onto the episode, I was talking to a guy and I was like, sorry, give me a second, Marshall. I gotta just send this email off real quick. It's an OrbisX member. He reached out, he said, hey, I know you have a printing shop, wanted to get some business cards. That order is probably gonna be like 35 bucks or something like that. But hey, I'm like, no problem. Shoot me an email personally. Sent to my email. Boom. I'm going to handle it personally because he's an OrbisX member. I want to give him that white glove treatment. I enjoy it. It's not like our profit margin on business cards is so low. Like business cards are like the bottom of the barrel for printing products. You know what I mean? But for me, it's not about whatever profit I'm going to make. It's just that sale, and it's one more opportunity to like a notch in the belt in a way. You know what I mean? And every time you do that, you're sharpening your blade, and you just become this samurai of sales that you feel almost untouchable. Because once you master sales in a capable capacity, you could literally like you will never be broke again. There's not a problem that you could encounter that you can't fix, literally, because you'll be able to navigate your way through. It might take some time, depending on severity of the problem, but you'll be able to overcome anything because then you can sell anything, including yourself. Maybe you get to a point where you're like, I can't do business anymore. You've got to go now sell yourself to get a job. Like it's so that to me is the number one skill. Being able to sell 100%. And a lot of it comes with that critical thinking that we've talked about a lot through this whole episode, where like looking at a scenario and saying, okay, I've got this problem. I want to be attacking that school. How do I do that? And the
Most of
beauty is,
us will never figure out how to sell.
ah, that's true. Wow.
And
Oh, well.
I'm going to beg the question of if they even should.
Ah, okay.
If we have a certain amount of skills, quote unquote, that we can learn and actively be good at,
Mm,
because as many things as there are in business, we got to figure out the things, as I was saying earlier,
strengths. Yeah.
things that we're good at and things we're not good at. If we're not like you at 13, being able to talk on a phone, even though you said it was tough, you figured it out. Most of us are 30 something, 25, and we're still scared to talk to people.
That's good.
So that person's never, ever going to be able to talk to somebody. I'm going to say they probably never should then.
Yeah.
And they
I
should
agree
do
with
what you
that.
and I have done in the past and talked about in the past and learn to build a funnel.
Yeah.
Not see the moment and go, how do I go sell somebody? But how do I bring these people, if I go to a car show, if I go to some big event, if I go and I go, all right, my business needs to do something here. I see that I got to do it. How do I funnel some people from this moment? I'm not a bird. I'm not a shark. I can't go hunt right now.
Mm,
I'm timid.
ah. That's a good point actually, because
And
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
here's
yeah.
the what I did, because I went to SEMA.
Yeah, yeah.
I went around and I noticed I couldn't do all this. I can't do that. And I go, how do I? Oh, you know what's really fun at SEMA? I'm not great at putting on this big booth. I probably couldn't pick. I don't want to do this. I could throw a party though.
Mm, there you go. See? That's right.
And
Like,
so my
yeah.
funnel was, and it started at Gordon Biersch Brewery.
Wow.
And 2017, I started the podcast. You can go back and actually this past weekend, I was starting a fire pit for the first time this fall. It was a perfect night on Saturday night. There was whiskey. Sunday was not a good day, but I had turned on Spotify, and the next thing started playing with this guy that goes, "What's crack-a-lackin'?" And I go, "Hey, that's my line. I love What's crack-a-lackin'," because Marty was a zebra from a
Yeah,
certain movie who
yeah,
used to always say, "What's crack-a-lackin'?"
yeah.
I think it was Chris Rock was the actual voice, right?
He knows the voice. Yeah,
And and then the guy kept talking, and I go, "Hey, that's something I would have said." Wait, that's me.
that's me. Oh, Jesus.
But my voice was so different because this was in a really tough part of my life when I started, and people always want to know, how do you start something?
Mm.
You know how I started? I picked up my phone and the only line I could think of, "What's crack-a-lackin'?"
Yeah. Jeez.
The only thing I could think of when I was at SEMA, I was going around, I was like, man, people love to drink. And after the party, or like after SEMA, we all love the parties.
Mhm.
Well, most of the big parties happened on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday night, though, was
Mm.
empty. I made some phone calls. I said, hey, I know you guys do your parties on these dates. If I host a party and give away free beer and have all detailers, it's open to any brand, it's open to anybody,
Yeah,
would you guys come? There was a
yeah,
guy that showed up. I mean, I didn't know anybody. And I was in there drinking with people and they go, oh, there's Larry. I go, who's Larry?
yeah,
I
yeah.
pointed at this tall, skinny guy and I walked over and I was like, hey, man, apparently I'm supposed to say hi and thanks for coming to my party.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't want to have the interview about the beer. And I was like, well, that's kind of rude. I'll talk to you. And there was a guy that was with him. Come to find out later, I understand why. He thought he didn't need to be talking to people, right? He was some YouTube guy. And it was like, whoa,
Okay, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a lot of people there and it was a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
That's how I capitalized on SEMA.
Damn, man. Hats
And
off to
we,
that. That's
yep. Then
amazing.
it kept producing, and then people from other expos started showing up and asking us to do the same thing at their expos. The podcast
Just
kept
grows.
growing, and
Yeah.
that is really the launch from distributor, blending, making my own stuff here locally to going, hey, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
How do I put my own brand out? And that was the way I used Seaman podcasting to put ourselves out there.
Amazing. Yeah. See, ingenious. And you found your way to attack the school. You know what I mean? The school of fish. I should clarify
While
that.
using a tornado in a sense to
Yeah.
funnel them over.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. But that's a good point too, because you're right. A lot of these guys won't ever become like top salespeople. But I have seen scenarios where someone's just really genuine, very honest when they talk to their customers, and they don't come across salesy or anything like that. But you get enough people in your funnel, they educate themselves, you nurture them along the way with programs like OrbisX, and through that funnel, they end up learning more about the products, and they're like, oh, geez, you send them maybe a weekly video, something about, hey, here we're using the new, hyperclean product, da da da, to do this on a vehicle. They learn more, they intrigue themselves. Next thing you know, they're picking up the phone and saying, hey, I think it's about time I book an appointment. I'd like to da da da. And so now you're just appointment taking, but it all starts with that sales funnel. And so don't worry, Orbis X isn't timid. You can tell her to do all kinds of stuff and she'll get it done. So you can set up your funnels and then push people through there. That's a really good point, because I always look at the world like everybody could be a super salesperson. Like, what are you talking about? I learned how to do it, but you're right. There are a lot of people out there that are,
you
you know,
gotta, what
always
strength
going,
can I do? What can I do? Like, could I do
yeah,
this? Well, I can't do that. I can do this. Once you figure out if there's something you could do, gotta go full
yeah,
hog, right? All
yeah.
in.
And it does start with
All
that
deep.
first step. Balls deep. Okay, so
All
we've
deep.
escalated from the tip. Sorry, guys. It's SEMA week. What do you want from us? Absolutely, but no, that's genius, and and hopefully that's helpful to a lot of people out there wondering how they see other people doing certain things, and they're like, oh, so maybe I have to do exactly that. Hopefully, this helps someone sit down, take some time, put down some thoughts on paper, and say, okay, well, I don't have to follow the crowd to get the crowd of fish. There's other ways I can attack this, and you just have to figure out what that angle is. And then once you figure out that angle, sky's the limit, really. Especially because most times someone else isn't filling that void, and so it's just wide open for you to, like, it's the path of least resistance in a way, you know, versus jumping in with the clutter, and then now you're just everyone's reaching out, put their hand to try and grab a fish, and you come around from the other side. That's genius, man. And me, I'm looking forward to it because there's gonna be a lot of good content. Gonna have to do a lot of video editing when he's back, but that's good. He's been getting some great footage, talking with a lot of people, meeting a lot of people. He's got a budget that he can spend with OrbisX members as well. So anyone, if you're down there, yeah, head on over, go see Matt, and you'll see him around. He'll be looking out for you. You can message him online, and you can also message the OrbisX office number. He gets those texts as well while he's at SEMA. And yeah, you guys can meet up, have a drink, have some dinner, stuff like that. Courtesy from me. I don't know. You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely enjoy. Because I really did want to give back to members as well. So that's why yeah, this is about, promoting OrbisX and introducing ourselves to new clients, but also existing members, connecting with them, building our community up, and yeah, taking it from there. So yeah, man, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be good. I can't wait. But awesome. Well, good stuff, Marshall. Appreciate it. Guys, tune in next week as well. And this week actually, tune into Pints Polishing Podcast as well. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of funny antics going on there too. But definitely. And hopefully we have an update next week on Crazy Uncle. So we'll see. Yeah, fingers crossed. Good stuff. Appreciate you as always. We'll see you next week. All right. Cheers, man. See you.